Hello, it's nice to be with you again today. I'm interested in sharing a little bit about overgeneralizing and basically completely missing the uniqueness of the present moment of a given person or a group of people. So let me break that down a little bit. Have you ever found in your own thoughts describing a group of people as they? Have you ever made it easy, so easy, to talk about another political party as them, this one or that one? And of course, we're generalizing. And of course, generalizing with a bunch of attached qualities. But what is this really doing? What limits is this really creating to talk about a group of people, sometimes millions of people, as simply they? There's some very real consequences to thinking and communicating like this that don't just affect the larger conversation, but that affect your day-to-day life and your personal relationships, and can do so very destructively and very painfully. We all want to be able to have some kind of influence. We all want to be able to help others. We all want to do what we think is right. And sometimes in order to do this, we take the easy way out, the mentally easy way out, and we overgeneralize. But what happens is, as a consequence of this is, we assume sameness throughout a large body of people. It could be even just the board of directors of your company, just 5 people, or it can be half of the United States. Just how specifically can you gain value from talking about people on such a general level? Have there ever been 2 people who agree on everything? When we assume sameness, we immediately lose track of reality. We lose track of the fact that people are not the same. And we very much so then begin risking harming the good efforts of people within that group that we're potentially condemning. Would you want to harm somebody who is in another group, one that perhaps you don't identify with, or that sometimes you generally don't like? Would you want to harm somebody within that group and their efforts to do something good for the planet? I don't think so. What can happen is we can create enemies. We can create opposition by being unaware of the people who vary from moment to moment, issue, topic, emotional moment from emotional moment, how their lives evolve. When we ignore that and assume sameness for the simpleness of it, we have become thus maybe too simple-minded. This can truly make matters worse. Who really enjoys to have somebody else label themselves without actually being asked? Nobody wants to be labeled for something that they do not think, feel, or believe. And so when we decide it's okay to have these conversations, these very, very important conversations, and break it down into simply, for example, Democrats or Republicans, what good is this doing us? But further, really what harm is this doing us? Again, we assume sameness, so we risk harming people within that group. and we can create enemies and do all kinds of harm. So what are the benefits of being able to see someone as an individual, to think on the individual basis, to make your contentions upon individual moments and circumstances? Well, first of all, we're not going to assume the sameness. We're going to be present in that moment and see the current circumstances and see the current influences, and thus doing so will gain a more subtle and more intricate awareness of the sometimes seemingly complex situations. Doing so will build respect and show respect to the variations of people. Doing so will build bridges between hearts. There are people who are often in different groups. Sometimes perhaps the majority share different opinions, but within them share like opinions also. Between them, rather, share like opinions also. If we want to have productive conversations, if we want to have influence, if we want to benefit, and if the point isn't just to be able to throw off all of our frustration upon another group of people, or even an individual, then don't we have to choose to be present and address what's currently going on in a detailed way, with detailed awareness? Don't we have to first care to be sharp within our own intellect, enough to not generalize people and throw everyone in the same pot? There are no two people alike. So let's really start to up our level of self-responsible listening and communication. Of course, this isn't something we all do all the time, but it's worth reflecting on where we do in our lives. So consider the impacts also on your relationships with even just one person. If you were to say, oh, Jessica, she's always like this. Is Jessica truly always like that? Is this person always like that? It's not possible. Every single person from day to day experiences something new. From moment to moment experiences something new. So this is an invitation to slow down some of the conversations, to degeneralize some of the conversations, to focus some of the conversations and thinking, so that we can communicate in a way based more in the present moment, and more specifically, as a means to respect people. When we generalize groups of people so easily, we can also very easily generalize individuals. And again, who wants that? Who wants to always be known as the person like this, like that? If you're known as the strong person, could you never rely on somebody else? If you're known as the needy person, will people ever see your capacity to take care of yourself? When we overgeneralize, when we say they are like this as an individual or as a group of people, we're missing the point. We're not present with them. And all we can offer is a wide attempt at labeling. And therefore, even if some of the labels are correct, so many will also be wrong. It will not fit in so many moments or for so many individuals in a group. So let's really consider just how general our thinking can be and how we allow ourselves to not be as sharp as we really need to be, to not use our intellect to the best of our capacity, to simply drop our emotional weight on a group of people. Of course, most who we often don't know and have never spoken to. So let's really up our level of communication. Let's really up our level of presence. And even on wide national topics, let's even consider speaking to the detailed moment and to detailed circumstances and individual people. This is a great way to hold people accountable who need to be held accountable. But this is also a great way to keep the paths of communication open for potential good and positive influence. Willing to do this with me? It's my goal to do this and to look in my own communication and make sure that I'm keeping it focused and appropriate for what is actually happening versus throwing a huge sum of labels out to land wherever they may. No. I want my words to mean more than that. I want my words to touch the right places, and I want to be able to listen to those places and people so I can actually build bridges and we can make a positive change. I hope you decide to engage in that and hold that for yourself as an example for others. Thank you, and we will see you again soon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and written blog through resoundinglife.com. Be sure to share your discoveries, favorite topics, and questions in the comments. Remember, personal coaching is available through video conference and in person. So, stop the wait and live a resounding life in all you do.